Economics, everyone. This thing that seems super boring, but actually, it makes the world go round. It's like the Matrix, but instead of code, we have money, jobs, spending. And get this whole machine is full of crazy mysteries that even the smartest people on the planet can't figure out. Seriously, every day we see news about crises, inflation, unemployment. It seems like we're always going in circles, you know? And the worst part is, the more they try to explain it, the more confusing it gets. Charts here, numbers there. But nobody can give a simple, straight answer to these tough questions. But hold on, because your friend Yika Zero is here to uncover these crazy mysteries. In this video, we're going to dive headfirst into the 10 biggest enigmas of economics. The things that make even economists' hair stand on end. Get ready to have your mind blown and finally understand how this whole thing works, or not. Have you ever noticed how the economy seems like a roller coaster? Sometimes everything is great, people are spending money, businesses are growing. Then suddenly, bam! Here comes a recession to mess everything up. Unemployment, bankruptcy, widespread chaos. And the worst part is, this isn't a one-time thing. It's a cycle that repeats itself, like a virus that always comes back stronger. We have technology, information, lots of smart people trying to predict the future. But the truth is, nobody knows for sure when the next crisis will hit, or how to stop it from happening. It's like we have an invisible clock that, from time to time, just breaks everything. And the strangest thing is, the more governments try to intervene, the more unpredictable this roller coaster gets. Some people say easy credit is to blame. Others blame speculative bubbles. Some even say it's all a matter of confidence. But the truth is, nobody has the definitive answer. What we do know is that recessions are like a tsunami, devastating and impossible to ignore. So, if you think the economy is a bed of roses, think again. At any moment, the tide can turn and wash everything away. And the worst part is, so far, nobody has figured out how to build a boat that's truly crisis-proof. Hey everyone, this one's gonna make you think. Over the last 50 years, we've seen technology explode. Robots, the internet, artificial intelligence. We produce more, work faster, and in theory, should be rolling in money, right? Wrong. The truth is, for most people, wages have stayed the same, while the cost of living just keeps going up. What's up with that? The logic is simple. More production should mean more profit, and more profit should mean more money for everyone. But in reality, we're living a paradox. It's like we're running on a treadmill that's going nowhere. We work hard, we give it our all, but the reward just doesn't come. Some experts point the finger at income inequality, where a few get the biggest piece of the pie. Others blame globalization, which throws workers from different countries into a fierce competition for ever lower wages. And there are those who say that the problem is structural, that modern capitalism simply wasn't designed to distribute wealth fairly. Whatever the explanation, one thing is certain: the system is broken. We're stuck in an endless loop of work and consumption without ever reaching that so-called prosperity. And the worst part is, while we're working ourselves to death, the owners of capital are up there at the top, laughing and counting their millions. Hold on tight, everyone. You go to the supermarket and notice that the price of rice, beans, meat, everything has gone up. And the worst part is, it's not just your imagination. Inflation is here to prove that your money is worth less and less. But what causes this price hike? The answer, my friends, is a bigger mystery than the Bermuda Triangle. Basic economics says that when supply is greater than demand, prices fall. And when supply is less than demand, prices go up. Makes sense, right? But in real life, things aren't that simple. Take the example of the real estate market. In many cities, there are tons of empty apartments, but prices remain sky high. Why? Because speculation, greed, and the fear of missing out completely distort the logic of supply and demand. And it doesn't stop there. Sometimes, the mere expectation that prices will go up is enough to make them actually go up. It's like we live in a self-fulfilling prophecy, where simply believing in something is enough to make it real. It's enough to make your head spin. The truth is, economics is not an exact science like math or physics. It's influenced by a lot of subjective factors like consumer behavior, market expectations, and even the mood of investors. That's why, sometimes, prices go up without any logical explanation. For a long time, We heard that inflation was under control, that the central banks had everything handled. But then, out of nowhere, prices explode, money loses value, and we ask ourselves, wait, how did this happen? Weren't these guys supposed to be the masters of the economic universe? The truth is, inflation is like a sleeping monster. It can stay quiet for a while, but all it takes is a little nudge for it to wake up with full force. And governments, even with all their tools and fancy policies, can't predict exactly when this monster will wake up. Wars, natural disasters, political crises, all of these can mess up the system and make inflation skyrocket. And the worst part is, when we least expect it, the inflation monster shows its claws and starts eating away at our buying power. And it's not enough to just blame the governments. Our behavior also influences inflation. If everyone decides to spend more at the same time, demand increases, prices go up, and voila, inflation says thank you. The lesson here is that inflation is a silent and unpredictable enemy. We never know when it will attack, but one thing is for sure. When it arrives, it's good to be prepared to protect yourself. Central banks, my friends, are like the conductors of the global economy. They control interest rates, currency, and try to keep the economy on track. But do they really control anything? Or are they just puppets in the hands of larger, more mysterious forces? It's like they're trying to balance a giant spinning plate with a lot of unpredictable factors influencing the movement. If they raise interest rates, the economy slows down. If they lower interest rates, inflation can skyrocket. It's a constant tug of war, where every decision has unpredictable consequences. And the worst part is, often, the decisions of central banks seem to have no practical effect on people's lives. It's like they're playing a complex game, with rules that only they know while we're here, not understanding anything, just feeling the side effects. The truth is, nobody knows for sure how much control central banks really have over the economy. What we do know is that they are key players in this game, but they are far from being the only players. And often, it seems like even they don't really know the rules of the game. We live on a planet with limited resources, that's a fact. But the economy, the way it's set up, needs endless growth to work. It's like we're trying to fill a glass of water with a high-pressure hose. Eventually, the glass overflows, and we get all wet. Our current way of making and using things isn't sustainable in the long run. We need to rethink how we make things, use things, and interact with the environment. If we don't, we'll end up using up all the planet's resources and putting our own survival at risk. We need to find a new model for development, one that considers the planet's limits and the needs of future generations. A model that's fairer, more balanced, and above all, more sustainable. We need to stop thinking only about the short term and start acting with the future in mind. If we don't, the bill won't add up, and we'll be the ones who have to pay the price. Chapter 7. Did you know there's another side to the economy? A hidden side that doesn't show up in official statistics? It's the underground economy, the black market, the money that changes hands under the table, unregistered, untaxed, uncontrolled. While governments and economists analyze charts and numbers, there are tons of people operating quietly, moving billions and influencing the real economy in ways no one can measure. It's like there's a parallel universe where the rules are different and the players are different. And the weirdest thing is, a lot of times, the underground economy ends up supporting the formal economy. It's the street vendor selling goods without a receipt, the informal worker doing odd jobs without official papers, the money circulating outside the banking system. Of course, the underground economy has its problems: tax evasion, lack of worker rights, exploitation. But at the same time, it's also a safety net for many people who can't survive within the formal system. The truth is, the underground economy is a reflection of the inequality and lack of opportunity that exist in the world. As long as there are people without access to the formal job market, as long as there are unfair taxes and suffocating bureaucracy, the underground economy will continue to exist, defying statistics and showing that reality is much more complex than the numbers can show. We live in a world where technology is advancing at a fast pace, but at the same time, social inequality is only getting worse. It's like we're living in two parallel realities. On one side, the super rich with their unimaginable fortunes, and on the other, the vast majority of the population struggling to survive with the bare minimum. But how is it possible that, in the 21st century, with all the wealth and technology available, we still haven't managed to create a more just and equal world? The answer is complex and involves a number of factors such as income concentration, labor exploitation, corruption, and lack of access to education and opportunities. While the rich are getting richer, the middle class is shrinking and the poor are getting poorer. It's as if the social elevator is broken and only those at the top can go up. Social inequality is a serious problem that needs to be addressed urgently. We need to create public policies that promote income distribution, access to quality education, the creation of decent jobs, and social justice. Only then can we build a more just and equal world for all. Think about it with me. Money, deep down, is just a piece of paper or some numbers on a screen. But why do we give it so much importance? Why do we work, struggle, and even hurt each other for something that, practically speaking, has no real value? Money is a social construct, a collective belief that that little piece of paper or those numbers represents something valuable. It's like we've made a silent agreement. I pretend this has value, and you do too. And that way, we can exchange goods and services. But what happens when this belief is broken? What happens when people lose confidence in money? History has shown that when this happens, chaos takes over. Hyperinflation, economic crises, social collapse. All of this can happen when we stop believing in the value of money. Money is a mystery, an illusion that moves the world. We need it to live, but we can't forget that it's just a tool and not an end in itself. We live in a globalized world where everything is interconnected. But who are the real power brokers? Who controls the markets, the currencies, the economic policies that dictate the rhythm of the planet? Is it governments with their amazing plans and public policies? Or is it the big multinational corporations with their tentacles spread all over the world? Or is the power in the hands of a small group of billionaires pulling the strings of the global economy behind the scenes? The truth is, the answer isn't simple. Economic power is diluted, fragmented, scattered. It's a complex web of relationships where governments, companies, banks, investors, and even ordinary citizens exert some kind of influence. But one thing is for sure, we need to understand how this web works, who the main players are, and what their interests are. Only then can we begin to question the status quo, fight for more social justice, and build a more balanced and sustainable world. So, did you enjoy this mind-blowing trip through the mysteries of economics? We saw that behind the numbers and graphs, there's a complex world full of paradoxes, contradictions, and unanswered questions. But instead of being paralyzed by fear or uncertainty, we need to use this knowledge to question, to look for solutions, and to build a better future. Remember, economics isn't an end in itself, but a tool we can use to create a fairer, more prosperous, and more sustainable world for everyone. And the first step to doing that is understanding how this tool works, what its limits are, and what its potential is. So, if you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any content. And even more importantly, share this video with your friends, family, neighbors. Spread the word. We need to demystify economics and show everyone that it's not a scary monster,